Daly's not looking too hot. So we're gonna repaint this hood, at least, because it looks like a baby punched it from the inside. And it's cracking everywhere. It's got little crow's feet. Hard to see because it's so dirty because I don't take care of it. But we got little crow's feet and cracks everywhere on the paint. The paint's starting to look pretty dull anyway. So if your hood, trunk, roof, tops of your fenders, anything has these little cracks in it, unfortunately, you got to strip it all down. You can't paint over it. The cracks are going to come back, and then you have to redo it again. I'm going to show you guys the fastest way to get through this and fix your sun fade, nasty, cracked paint, and so you can be looking good like this will.
Well, that worked really well. The single application of that paint stripper pretty much got everything off of it. I had the edges taped off so that none of the paint stripper would go down in the seams and stuff in here and, you know, make a mess to where I gotta clean up, you know, paint stripper getting in places it shouldn't, or like all over the bumper or anything like that. So what I'm gonna do now is just take and mechanically strip off the stuff around the edges here. I'll see what I'm going to use, maybe the DA with some 80 grit, or just like a regular you know, rotary tool with like some 150 on it, because it can be a little bit, you know, aggressive. So I'm going to get the edges on this stripped down. I'm going to go ahead and get all the metal conditioned in some 80 grit like this with the DA. And then I'll show you guys my technique for cleaning up the metal before I do any of the metal work or anything like that, just to make sure that all the stripper is neutralized, and then also that the metal is super clean. We got it all stripped down. We got it all in 80 grit with the DA. And then what I did was take the long block with a piece of 80 grit on it, and I ran over the hood real quick just to kind of point out where some of the dings and dents were. So I'm gonna go along and I'm just gonna do some quick metal work on those, just to get them a little bit closer before I get this thing all cleaned up and then throw some primer on it. I'm gonna be using an epoxy primer for this. So ideally what you're gonna do is put down your epoxy primer and then let it cure for about a day. And then you can put your body filler straight over that without sanding. And it's gonna give you really good corrosion protection, but then also the body filler is gonna bite into that epoxy real good. It's gonna bond together chemically really nice. And then I'll be able to go around and just block sand out all the little dents and dings and stuff like that that are still left after the metal work. But I'm gonna try to get it super close in just the metal. What wound up happening with this
is there was that weird high spot I was calling the baby fist that was right here. And I figured out that what that actually was there must have been a nice big dent in this hood, and someone took and got up underneath it with a pry bar and pried up a high spot in this middle section to try to just hold this dent, essentially kind of lock it up from, you know, looking like the whole center of the hood was crushed in. So once I shrunk that high spot back down a little bit, the whole dent came right back. So I had to pull out this whole weird, like, triangle shaped section here in the middle to get the rigidity back in the steel, and also to get, you know, get it leveled out so that I could get some filler on it without having too much on there. So I'm at a point where I'm happy with it now. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually gonna do a skim before primer, just because this needs a little bit more build. So I'm probably gonna get the majority of the body work on this hood just done in bare metal. It's not ideal, but it's also not wrong to do it like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a skim on this, and while that's curing, I'm gonna pull out this one other dent that I've got right here. You can kind of see the outline. And then while I'm waiting for this to cure up, I'll get that done. I'll get some filler on that. A few of the other little dings I pulled out, and those are all metal finish. Like there's a few little dings through here, through the front. Those ones are all pretty much pulled out to the point where they shouldn't need any filler, but if they do, I'll just throw some glaze putty on top of the epoxy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this body worked. We'll get this in primer today. Tomorrow do some finishing work, and then 2K it and let it sit for a little while so the 2K can cure up, and then time for paint.